Hello. This is my third and possibly last installment in my personal process of um, dealing with Sheldon's physical departure. So I'm calling this my transition to Sheldon's transition to non-physical. I can say that I feel like I'm getting a PhD in mourning. I'm learning and growing so much in an unchosen and undying, can I say, life lesson. I am in my life gradually reorganizing myself. I'm starting with the house. I've rearranged or now my home, discarding all kinds of clutter and excess and surplus. I'm eating very modestly in small amounts, not on purpose, just that's what I'm wanting. And more interestingly, I have new and also renewed friendships that I hadn't developed with Sheldon because we had focused inward on each other. And now I find myself looking outward. I went, for example, on a day trip to the Galilee. That was wonderful. I go to the beach often. It's close by. I visit family who I've gotten more and more close with and love tremendously. And great news, I'll soon have a new housemate as Sheldon's granddaughter, Libby, the singer, prepares to move in with me. She'll take over the upstairs rooms. So that's a blessing. I'm so fortunate to have friends near and far, and I know that many people love me, and that's a wonderful gift. I'm loving other people more than ever too. And I'm even thinking if that might be the definition of happiness. Certainly I can say that I enjoy myself often. Most of the time, much of the time, I'm expanding with Sheldon. Some of the time, I'm caught in the mire. Sometimes the house is too quiet for too long, and I'm alone too much, and I cry sometimes, and it's not all the time. Libby, my granddaughter, asked me what I miss most about Sheldon, and of course I said his presence. So in some ways, life is really good, and in some ways, it's hard. And it is getting better. I've been listening to and reading a lot of Abraham Hicks material, spiritual teachings that speak to me very deeply. Somehow I can relate very clearly to them. Abraham purports that the only road to satisfaction is having a desire and moving towards it. My desire, my wish, is to feel Sheldon with me, to know that he's present. I believe he is. Sometimes I really, really know it. I'm learning what it means to relate to someone's essence on a non-physical level. It's mighty and magnificent. I've had a few clear gifts of connection. So I'd like to tell you about one of them. I have taken up medication. I've taken up meditation. And on one occasion, I successfully entered into almost a trance state with my body feeling numb as if I were viewing it from outside. My head moved very slightly, maybe like that, and significantly because I hadn't intended that movement. I knew from these Abraham teachings then that I was ready to ask Sheldon a question. So I said the first thing that came into my mind, "How are you?" I couldn't think of anything else to ask, and that's what I really wanted to know. He answered in a word, "Fine." And I felt a warm path of radiance down the front of my torso. I continued, "I don't have anything to ask you, except perhaps maybe whether you like the headstone that we picked out for the grave." At that, I started to tear up a little bit, and Sheldon said, "Don't worry. The sorrow will pass." And I knew it to be true. I'd had my first communication with Sheldon. It was beyond wonderful. We chatted and we hung out, and it was totally real. I just couldn't see him. I felt him and he's fine. Knowing that Sheldon is with me means that I'm not alone. I'm the one in a physical body doing stuff, and he's the inspiration, so clearly part of me and all of us. It's a wonderful feeling, something like the clear faith that I hold in God. The lesson for me of this Yom Kippur was letting go of control and of doing nothing. It's about undoing and not doing. That sounds like the opposite of having goals. And as always, balance matters. When I get carried away and make unrealistic or impossible wishes, wanting to feel Sheldon's presence 100% of the time, not being sad anymore, I can feel my satisfaction slipping into frustration or overwhelmment. Right now, I don't always feel Sheldon's presence. Sometimes sorrow spills out, and I'm building my faith one breath at a time, letting go, letting God, and letting Sheldon in. So thank you, friends, for listening, for loving me, for being here. And how do I stop? Mwah.